What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So let's start this video with the most recent physique update from Regan Grimes. So Regan did not listen to the advice of some of the bodybuilding experts who were saying just because he's gonna place 12th at this upcoming Miss Olympia, he should just skip it and focus on the Olympia next year. And for those of you guys who do not know, Shaun Ray and Bob Chicarello were the ones who were saying this to Regan. Now, Regan on the other hand, he's continuing with his prep for this upcoming Miss Olympia, which by the way starts today at less than 17 weeks out. And the man is already up by 10 pounds from his stage weight from the New York Pro and Cali Pro and also Toronto Pro. Now, many people out there, they still leave these kind of comments that Regan is overhyped. And based on the reason that these guys give, you can certainly see their perspective too. That he did a total of 3 shows this year. And he kind of missed his mark in 2 of them, namely the New York Pro and Toronto Pro, especially at Toronto Pro, where he lost to Shawn Karida. And that was the show that he was supposed to dominate. And at this point, we simply cannot say that him and his new coach, Stefan, they have figured out the right formula. And as far as his expectations for this upcoming Miss Olympia are concerned, the man said he's gonna be anywhere from 4th to 8th at this upcoming Miss Olympia. Now, placing top 4, or I'm gonna say even top 6, that kind of seems unrealistic at this point, especially based on his last showing, which was Toronto Pro. So top 6 in my opinion, that seems kind of impossible at this point. And I mean no disrespect towards Regan Grimes by saying this, I'm just being honest here. The fact is, the guys in those first call out at the Olympia level, they are just way too good for him at this point. They are all simply awesome. And almost all of them, they have very little weaknesses. While someone like Regan on the other hand, he still needs more chest, more legs, I'm gonna say more biceps too, from the front. So overall, he needs bigger arms and bigger legs. Now his back shots, they are definitely worthy of that Olympia top 5. And I think we can all agree with that. Now, he took 1 whole year off last year. He came back. And I must say considerably bigger than 2023. But that being said, him losing to Shawn Karida at Toronto Pro, that was like a very big blow to his reputation and his own expectations that he wants to place top 6 at the Olympia at the very least. So Regan and Rafael Brandao, they are more or less similar in this regard, that both these guys started competing in the pro ranks back in 2017. But they have both struggled to put on some size, some mass, which is the key factor in open bodybuilding. So do let me know what you guys think. How high can Regan place at this upcoming Miss Olympia? Next up, we have an update from Marcelo, aka Hosstile from Brazil. And based on this update, and how the man appears relatively smaller compared to his open bodybuilding days, it's obviously very clear that he made this decision of switching over to classic physique a while back. For the ones who are asking, what's gonna be his weight cap in classic physique? If I'm not mistaken, I think it's gonna be anywhere from 227 to 230 pounds, which is still gonna be the biggest challenge for him to come down to. The argument that he can reduce the amount of gear while in classic physique in comparison to what he was taking while being in the open, in my opinion, that is kind of false, because if that would have been the case, he would not have failed while making the weight cutoff a couple of years back when he initially tried to do classic physique. And for the record, his peak off-season weight, that was 289 pounds. So he's gonna have to slowly come down, but dropping almost 60 pounds, that simply isn't gonna be easy, no matter how slowly you do that. But his reason for choosing classic physique, that is very clear. The fact is, he doesn't want to carry that kind of weight all year round. He wants to be relatively healthier and he wants to be more athletic, which is something that he can do while being in classic. So let's just hope that this time he can finally make the weight cutoff and we can see a downsized and probably a more streamlined and a more ripped version from Hosstile whenever he does classic physique next. Next up, we have the physique update from Jordan Hutcherson on the road to this upcoming Tampa Pro. And safe to say that the man is changing very fast. Now the thing is, he was very lean to begin with, even at the peak of his off-season. when he first started this prep. And just because he was coming down very fast, he had 2 back-to-back high-carb days to fill back up a little bit. And now the man is back on his plan. And the plan is to dig deep and come in very shredded and absolutely ripped to the bone for his first show of the year, which I just mentioned is gonna be Tampa Pro. Now, based on the 3 shows that he did last year, and he got better from one show to the next one, it's very much a probability that he's gonna be bone dry and absolutely ripped, but a lot bigger this time around. And that was the main reason such an extended off-season was taken by Jordan Hutcherson, and that started after last year's Texas Pro. And I must say, from the looks of it, it has paid off big time, at least up until now. Now, Jordan isn't gonna be the most aesthetic or the most beautiful physique at this upcoming Tampa Pro. He won't be the biggest guy either, but he will have a nice balance of both of these aspects. So he placed second at Texas Pro last year, behind Andrew Jack, and that was the best placings of his pro career so far in the Men's Open. So looking forward to this finished product, and I do believe that he's gonna be a worthy opponent at this upcoming Tampa Pro, which by the way is a show that is probably gonna have a very deep lineup. So Quinton Beastwood, another guy going for this upcoming Tampa Pro, coaching himself, that does put kind of a question mark on whether he's gonna be able to make the right call leading into the show, especially in the last couple of weeks, because we have heard this so many times, how that prep brain works. Now, if I'm not mistaken, even last year at Toronto Pro, Dorian Hamilton was the one who helped him with the peak week. But considering the fact that he was working with one of the best gurus, Matt Jensen, for almost 2 years, and they failed horribly for last year's New York Pro, why not try and do it yourself? And although Dorian Hamilton did help him in the peak week at Toronto Pro last year, but Quinton was the one who made all the calls from the New York Pro to Toronto Pro. And we saw how he beat guys like John Jewett and a bunch of other guys. And John Jewett then went on to win Van Pro, and he qualified for the Olympia. So if Quinton continued to compete, his chances of getting the Olympia qualification, they were looking pretty high last year. Now he's a very big guy with a very big frame, amazing structure, crazy aesthetics, one of the most beautiful shapes out there. And Toronto Pro 2024 look, that is a proof that when he is very hot and full, he's gonna get rewarded, despite the fact that he wasn't the most conditioned guy out there. So the main goal for Quinton this time, during this prep, is to hold on to all that muscle, all that mass, all that pop that he built during this past off-season while he diets down. And for 7 weeks out of the show, he looks pretty damn good right now. Now we do not know what his back is gonna look like on the stage, as that has always been a very big weakness for him. But that being said, Quinton at his very best, he has all the tools to win this upcoming Tampa Pro and qualify for the Olympia this year. Next up, we have an update from the former 2x 212 Olympia champion, Shawn Karida, one of the hottest working guys in the industry, not just in the 212. So the transformation that Shaun was able to make, the amount of muscle that he was able to put on while being 5'2", that is simply unprecedented in the entirety of bodybuilding. I mean, you look at that physique from Shaun and wonder that a bodybuilder, he simply cannot get any thicker and any denser than him. And the man has already achieved greatness in this division. Now, that being said, unfortunately for Shaun, he's up against a genetic phenomenon, one of the most formidable 212 athletes of all time, and that is Keon Pearson, who is just coming into his own. But Shaun, being at the age of 42, if he still continues to place top 2 in the world, holding off so many young guys with amazing physiques, that is still a very big achievement. And we know Shaun is a guy who likes to compete multiple times, every single year. Especially, he loves to compete in the Men's Open. So he did Prague Pro last year, where he placed top 3, behind Martin and Chris Bumstead. And he did the Arnold Ohio this year, where he placed 7th. So will Shaun be able to bring something similar to 2022, which I believe was the best look of his entire professional career? Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.